Are Prince Harry and Meghan Markle making it a career out of being professional, useless people? Yes, we had the announcement that Harry and Meghan will lead a seminar via their Archewell Foundation, a professionally useless organization in New York City for Mental Health Awareness Day. And the couple, of course, seemingly are trying to steal the thunder of Catherine and William, who are doing a tour around the United Kingdom for 2 days starting on October 10th, also talking about mental health because of Mental Health Awareness Day. Yes, of course. Now, while both of the couples do proclaim that mental health is a key part of their initiative, Harry and Meghan are also seemingly inflating what they're doing, because when you read the initial People article making this announcement, it sounds like Harry and Meghan started this whole seminar, and Harry and Meghan, they're just bringing all these people together for this single conference. But when you read through the article buried in there, well, it's just one small segment of a much broader conference on the issue of mental health, because Harry and Meghan can't do anything seemingly without riding on the coattails of others or stealing other people's ideas and initiatives and then proclaiming it as their own. That is what they seem to do time and time again. I don't think between the two of them, they have ever had an original idea on essentially anything. Harry and Meghan are basically professional, useless people. And because of that, they just haven't been able, I think, to have the impact that they want to, because I think in order to be very successful, the couple really needs to start thinking for themselves and stop taking over other events done by other people. If they could stand on their own 2 feet, I think they'd be much more successful than always trying to steal from others. So we will go into the details on this event today because it is rather fascinating. And also Meghan Markle's recent appearance at the Beverly Hills Hotel alone. Yes, it seems like she's there a lot, or somewhere else, anywhere, alone. So we will go into a little bit of this today, but if you guys haven't been to Royal News Network, my name is Brittany. I provide compelling royal commentary about the latest news, sometimes a little bit of the drama going on behind the scenes. I also have a newsletter, a fashion channel, a membership, so if you want more behind the scenes things, and I also have a partner, so if you like the earrings and the jewelry, I will have an affiliate link there down below if you are interested. These are lab created diamonds. I think they're so pretty. So I showed off some other earrings in the previous video I did. These are some of the other ones I got. So guys, I am super excited to share those with you. And before we get into this whole thing, let's talk about Catherine recently at an event, and she did some wheelchair rugby and she knocked it out of the park. Of course, Catherine is obviously very, very sporty. And there was just this very sweet moment where one of the boys came over and actually tickled her behind, and she handled it exceptionally well. So go ahead and take a watch a little bit of this here. I think it's great that Catherine can do that. It looks like there were some special needs kids within that. So I'm sure in certain situations that wouldn't have happened. But of course, you need to be gracious in all situations because everybody's a bit different. And maybe that boy was challenged by some of his friends, or it's like, oh, I'm gonna bet you go over there and tickle her. And she's like, okay. And so I think it was just really, really sweet. And she just seemed to have a fantastic time. She loves sports. And I think being the patron of the Rugby Football Union was a fantastic partnership for Catherine. I guess apparently rugby is really big in her home growing up. And so she, I think, has a real passion for it, enjoys the game. And so it was just super exciting to see her there. We also have a couple of royals out doing other engagements. We have Crown Princess Victoria, who was recently giving away some awards regarding environmentalism. We also have further announcements for Prince Christian. So he will turn 18 October 15th. And so it sounds like there's going to be a huge gala. And I was thinking this would be more black tie. No, it's going to be white tie, and we're going to have a lot of future queens there. So we're going to have Crown Princess Victoria, Princess Estelle, Princess Elizabeth. We also have, Princess Ingrid Alexandra of Norway is going as well. And I think maybe her dad Hakan. So it'll be just super exciting. I'm almost like really bummed I'm missing this event. But as it turns out, Crown Princess Mary will actually be coming to the United States. She will do a couple of engagements in New York and then actually come down to North Carolina to do a couple engagements there as well. So that is super exciting. It's always fun when royals come to the United States because otherwise you have to go to Europe, which is like more exciting in a way. But back to this competition between these Mental Health Awareness Week situations, because we have Catherine and William who have an engagement coming out, and then Harry and Meghan doing their thing in New York as well. What I will say, and I looked through this, is that when it comes to the Twitter posts, they were posted within 15 minutes of each other. People Magazine's exclusive was actually about 15-20 minutes before Catherine and Williams, as far as I could tell, via Majesty. Although that was a press release, so that goes to certain press outlets. So Catherine and Williams could come out a smidge earlier, and that was the earliest Majesty posted. If I find an earlier post from one of the other reporters, I will let you know. I just know that's where I saw it first. And so it was just very interesting that the timing of these announcements is so tight. But this is very, very, very similar to what Harry and Meghan have done since they entered into the royal family. Because Meghan Markle sees royalty as a competition. She is not a team player. Everything is about Meghan. Meghan. And because of that, when anytime royals had particular engagements, especially when they asked everybody to clear their calendar, not do anything because they want a particular royal to shine, Meghan seemed to always come in like a battering ram and try to steal their coverage. This happened with now Queen Camilla. At the time, she was the Duchess of Cornwall, and she was doing this big conference on domestic violence. So she really wanted to give this speech and wanted a lot of focus to be on this speech. Of course, what does Meghan Markle do? Well, Meghan Markle releases pictures of herself touring the Royal Theatre just a couple of days before. She released the pictures, of course, then. And I feel like there's just countless examples of this. I'm having a tough time bringing them to my head, but it almost happens all the time. We also have the announcement that Harry and Meghan were being kicked out of Frogmore Cottage. Of course, what do? Well, they go to a restaurant and they make this big deal about going to the San Vicente bungalows, and they called the paparazzi there. They went out in a rainstorm. It was like pouring rain. And if you don't know, Californians tend to not want to drive in rain. It's just something they're just so unused to. And because of the composition of the roads and because of the lack of rain overall, there's the slick factor is much higher in California than it is in other states when it comes to rain. And so because of that, Californians just generally don't want to drive in rain. So the idea that Harry and Meghan were driving 2 hours from Montecito to the San Vicente bungalows to go in for dinner in a pouring down rainstorm, it just didn't make a lot of sense, except for the fact that Harry and Meghan were trying to prove to the media and the world and themselves that yes, they were still succeeding without the royal family. And I just don't think that's necessarily the case. But when you have these two pieces of competition here, it is hard because photographers and videographers and everything have to determine where to go. Do they go to the Harry and Meghan thing, or do they go to the Catherine and William thing? And this won't be as big a deal right now because obviously the event Harry and Meghan are going to is in the States. Most of the royal photographers are in Europe. But I know when I was in Sweden during the Royal Jubilee, there were actually people who talked about, well, I got offered either to go to the Dusseldorf Games or to the Golden Jubilee. And, you know, they had debated and decided to go to the Golden Jubilee instead, but they were talking a lot about Dusseldorf. And I noticed that it wasn't perhaps always the higher ranking or the photographers that are most at these events when it comes to Getty and other organizations. Like one of the photographers I chatted with, she actually photographs concerts. That's her main area. So, and musical concerts. So she had no clue who any of the royals were. She had no idea. And it made sense at the end because there was a concert function, but it was a little bit weird. But obviously, I imagine that a lot of their photographers ended up being at the Invictus Games at that time. And we also got more second string photographers when it came to Catherine and William's engagement because Chris Jackson was in Dusseldorf. Although I will note that Chris Jackson, who has taken amazing pictures of Catherine and William, ironically didn't post anything about being at the Invictus Games. I noticed on his Twitter profile that might have changed, but when I initially saw it, usually he posts a couple of his favorite pictures from whatever engagement he's photographing. But this time when he was at the Dusseldorf Games, he didn't. But you could see him in some of the videos and stuff like that. But it does pull focus though from what Catherine and William are doing. And I do hate to say it, although I think Catherine and William are obviously the classier element. The photographers and the public and everything follows Catherine and William because they are the Prince and Princess of Wales. They have a greater impact in everything. But Harry and Meghan, because people don't like them, people like to watch them fail. And so sometimes it's more fun to watch the train wreck than it is to watch the regular traffic. And so I feel like that's the pull here between these two. So let me share with you guys a little bit of what Catherine and William are doing. This is according to the press release. The Prince and Princess of Wales will be carrying on engagements across the country next week to mark World Mental Health Day, which takes place on Tuesday, October 10th. Their Royal Highnesses together with the Royal Family. So what they will do is they will partner with The Mix to support BBC Radio 1 and will host a forum of young people in Birmingham. Exploring Our Emotional Worlds will bring together 100 young delegates nominated by 10 leading mental health and youth engagement charities to start a conversation about how they manage their emotions and how they can be supported to build resilience and protective factors such as healthy relationships, which makes it easier to navigate bumps in the road as they go through life. And then following this, the subsequent 2 days, the Prince and Princess of Wales will undertake further engagements to highlight the importance of mental well-being, including with university students and emergency responders. They will also shine a light on the interaction between mental health and sport. So I just think that is fantastic. And here's the thing too, Catherine and William can have a real impact because they have the ear of politicians, they have the ear of leaders, and they have the ear of the public, and people generally pay attention to what they're doing, and they have this authority behind them, which can have a real impact on the lives of others. Harry and Meghan, not so much. And this is why I come to this conclusion that they are professional, useless people, because all they do is talk. It never actually leads to anything. They never have any actionable things. All they do is talk or throw their name behind something. They don't actually get down on the ground and actually make a real impact. So here's some of what we got from People magazine. And I hate it when magazines do this because it kind of bothers me, especially in this instance, because it's like, oh, it's an exclusive, we heard via V. It's like, no, you didn't hear. Somebody from Archewell called you and told you about this event. You didn't hear about it through the grapevine or anything. This is an entirely set up puff piece. But here's what we have. It says the Duke and Duchess of Sussex will be in NYC on Tuesday, October 10th for their Archewell Foundation's first ever in-person event, which will provide a platform for parents navigating mental health challenges in the digital age. Well, I'm sure maybe those parents can help Harry and Meghan maybe, mend the relationship with their parents. I would think that would be sort of important, because the thing about Harry and Meghan is, how can you trust anything they say on mental health? Harry acknowledges that he takes hallucinogenics to speak to his dead mother. Meghan has no relationship with any of her family beyond her mother and tenuously her cousin, or her niece or whatever. That's like all she has. She's broken down relationships very publicly with friends. And so it's like, how in the world are these two emotionally inept people speaking on mental health? I feel like their mental health is worse overall, because mentally healthy people don't cut entire pieces and chunks of their family out of their lives. They just don't. Even if you're not close to particular family members, you can still go to events, chat with them, enjoy them, and maybe you don't go on a vacation together. Maybe you don't really go out to a meal very much, but I love my mom because she is fantastic. She is so good at maintaining relationships with all members of the family, even though she gets occasionally frustrated at times or whatever. She is so gracious to everyone. So I hope one day I can kind of emulate her and how she does it. And she just does such a fantastic job. And she gives so much. She gives so much, and she doesn't always get a ton in return. But that's what it means to really be a family member, be supportive of other people. Harry and Meghan aren't like that, and they have no connection to their family. So how in the world are we supposed to believe that these two incredibly emotionally inept people can somehow lead a mental health charity? It's just ridiculous. Goes on to say the Archewell Foundation will host the Archewell Foundation's Parents Summit, Mental Wellness in a Digital Age, to give voice to families who are passionate about building a safer online world for their children and teens. People Exclusively reveals the conversation will explore how we as a community, both globally and locally, are creating positive change and supporting one another in developing solutions to empower families and uplift our collective mental well-being. Well, given how their squad reacts to certain things, Harry and Meghan need to adjust the people who follow them before trying to help anybody else. Because the people who follow them are sometimes rather nasty people. Because when I announced I was in Munich, Munich, Germany, not close to Dusseldorf. In southern Germany, Dusseldorf is in northern Germany. Somehow the Sussex squad got it into their minds that I was going to gate crash the Invictus Games and that I was some crazy person. And then they're like putting all these things like, oh, we're going to call the cops and have everybody be on the lookout. And I was like, why? I'm like 500 miles away, 500 or 300 miles away. I'm not there, you nincompoops. Still haven't gotten an apology for all that craziness. And it was obviously very nasty reactions online. Although to be fair, sometimes people on the pro Kate and William side can be equally as nasty. I got an honesty comment yesterday, I noticed, all because I just happened to not believe that Meghan Markle used a surrogate. Because of that, I don't, and because I don't have kids, I just don't know anything. It's like, well, when those kids show up, I'm sure you're going to regret that. So anyways, just all that's saying is that there can be nastiness on all sides here. And Harry and Meghan's side, I mean, they've been incredibly ugly to the children of Catherine and William themselves, you know, perpetuating this lie that, you know, the Prince of Pegging and all these sorts of things. And so it's like, why in the world can Harry and Meghan lead on anything when it comes to this? Because I feel like they fuel it. Because I have no doubt, and I thought it was kind of interesting because I was looking through the Instagram comments of the woman who posted the selfie of Meghan at the Beverly Hills Hotel. And it was very clear that she's like, somebody says, oh, well, did she post that on her Instagram? And the person's like, no, but I'm sure she probably has one. I was like, I'm sure she does, because Meghan Markle loves the attention. And so I'm sure she's constantly there trolling people that don't like her. And so because of that, it's like, how in the world are these two incredibly inept people qualified to lead this discussion in any form? But they're not really leading the discussion, guys. And again, what is Archewell doing here besides just gathering people? It's unclear. It says the summit will feature parents who have experienced tragic loss connected to their children's social media use. Harry and Meghan have been working with parents involved in next week's event. Behind the scenes, people has learned. Yes, Harry is going, well, my mother died in a drunk driving accident, but I know your pain. Or Meghan's like, our children aren't on social media yet, but we can help you with social media. These two people can't help people with anything. They can't help people with anything. They can't even get a podcast together in a decent period of time, let alone a television show. These two people are useless in a lot of ways. They just don't, like, and I will get to what they should really do so that they cannot be seen as professionally useless people, because this is all really going to a dead end. Because this is not what Harry and Meghan want. Harry and Meghan don't care about the charity. They care about the adulation they get from the charity, but not from actually helping people. So we'll get to what their true desire is at the end. So it says, of course, from an Archewell spokesperson, the families have been engaged with the Archewell Foundation for the past year. I'm sure with assistance, not Harry and Meghan. Bolstering community and driving towards solutions. Together, they are united in their mission to share personal experiences, data, and research to ensure the same does not happen to other families. The just unfortunate thing about social media, and the thing that you take once you engage with it, is that it's a beast you can't control. And if you think you can control it, that is censorship. So as parents, and I have no doubt this is incredibly hard, you have to figure out how to shield your children and yet also have them have a phone because they need to contact you and those sorts of things. There's just no easy solution except for to say to your kids, well, you get this flip phone and nothing else. And then you never know too. Everything is like, you got phones and tablets and computers and everything, and there's a million different ways kids can get online. So unless you go totally off the grid, that's going to be really hard. But the burden I feel like people always put on anymore is like, well, we need to force the institutions to do more to protect us. It's like, well, you also need to take a personal accountability and protect yourself. You can't always rely on somebody else to do the protecting for you. You have to take that personal responsibility as well. And yes, it's hard. Yes, it's not easy. Yes, I'm sure there'll be fights with your kids. But at the same time, I think it's dangerous to put the burden on an institution to do it, because that will inevitably lead to censorships, to managing information, keeping information from people, because that always seems to be what happens, because people go, well, we need to protect you, and so we'll keep this away from you. But at the end of the day, they end up keeping important things away from everybody on the idea that, well, we're just protecting certain people. There's just a danger there. And that's what Harry and Meghan want. Harry and Meghan want no negative stories about them. No stories calling out their hypocrisy, calling out their, let's say, frankly, sometimes lies, misinformation. They don't want people doing that. And so a way they can do that is to say, well, we're working with parents whose children have been harmed by social media. And what we're going to do is we're going to push our agenda, which is to clamp down on all media. That is the inevitable danger there. And that's what Harry and Meghan's true goal is. It's not really to help people. It's always to help themselves. The event will take place on Tuesday, October 10th as part of Project Healthy Minds' second annual World Mental Health Day Festival, the first and largest of its kind in the country. So just to give you an idea, this is buried further in the bottom of the article that this event is not being hosted by Harry and Meghan. Harry and Meghan just signed up for a seminar slot. That's essentially what they did. But they're touting it as that they're a key part of this. I mean, they are. They're bringing eyeballs to it. But it's not like they set up this event. They probably called the organizers going, hey, can we get a slot? And they're like, sure. And Harry and Meghan, of course, minimal amount of effort, minimal amount of work. That is Harry and Meghan's mantra. Project Healthy Minds is a millennial and Generation Z driven nonprofit focused on tackling the growing mental health crisis and a longtime partner of Meghan and Harry's Archewell Foundation. I love how they still put Meghan first instead of Harry. Harry's more important here. He just is, as a royal. The only reason anybody cares about Meghan Markle is because of Prince Harry. Prince Harry and Meghan will participate in the summit alongside Surgeon General Vivek Murthy to discuss the importance of this work and explore potential solutions in a conversation moderated by Carson Daly, board member of Project Healthy Minds. So I don't know what they're doing here. Are they even will they even be there? What will they do? Like Meghan always wants the mic, so you know she's got to talk and give this emotional, she's good at flowery emotional things, but she just talks sort of word salad nonsense because you hear her talk and it sounds profound, but when you really think about the words, it's like, oh, that means nothing. That's Meghan's whole spiel. Oh, and of course, big thing to note, this is Harry and Meghan's triumphant return to New York City after their supposedly catastrophic car chase earlier this year in May. And I love this. I was reading through the People magazine article because it has to go over the whole thing. And People magazine, just a word of note, you needed to put alleged in this sentence. Let me just read it. It says, the following day, so this was after the car chase, a spokesperson for the Duke and Duchess of Sussex said the couple and Meghan's mother, Doria Ragland, were involved in a near catastrophic car chase at the hands of a ring of highly aggressive paparazzi. Again, there's too much words there. There are too many words. When you lie, you tend to add more things instead of being clear and concise. All you need to say was, there was a car chase with paparazzi. You didn't need to say a catastrophic car chase that was highly aggressive. That's just too much. But again, should have said, the following day, a spokesperson for the Duchess said the couple were allegedly, People magazine. Come on, a little bit of journalistic integrity here. Just a little bit. So apparently the tickets for this engagement have already sold out. I went to look and it was weird because I could see with the Archewell font that somehow there were tickets there and you could get them. I imagine there's going to be 50 people there because that is about the number of people that Harry and Meghan would allow at an event. I would like to go at some point to a Harry and Meghan event just to report on what's actually going on, because I feel like you get all this flowery, oh, people loved it. But then you actually see it and it's like, oh, nobody really cared, did they? So I think that will be interesting to see. Obviously, it's in New York, a huge crowd. The Peloton events, the Equinox events have already sold out, so these are the workout events. So I imagine the crowd size for those events will be about the same as Harry and Meghan's, very sparse. Because again, only certain people can be in the presence of the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. But then we get to this interesting bit, and maybe I'll do a whole video on it because I think there's a lot of things to read into this. But this selfie that somebody took of Meghan Markle outside the Beverly Hills Hotel, I went and looked at the Instagram posts these people made and just looked at the images and the colors and everything, and I'm absolutely positive that's where she was. And so it sort of lines up with a story that we heard earlier this year that Meghan likes to spend a lot of times and have meetings at the Beverly Hills Hotel, which is far from Montecito. It's not close. Montecito is an hour, at least zero traffic. Would be probably 45 minutes to an hour outside of LA. But because of traffic, it's probably an hour or 2 hours. And she was clearly there at night. And I love this quote. Just arrived in LA, when we went out for dinner, we ran into Meghan Markle, very low key and super nice. What I thought was key here is that one of the other people in this selfie with Meghan said, which one's the real Duchess? It's almost making fun of her. It's always making fun of her because she's not really seen as a real Duchess. She doesn't do anything. She's not a royal anymore. She doesn't really have a Hollywood career. She's basically slumming it at the Beverly Hills Hotel, hoping somebody pays attention to her. I'm sure that's what she's doing because did she really need to have podcast meetings at the Beverly Hills Hotel? Probably not, but it just soothed her ego to do it. That's why she did it. But I think the thing here is that why Harry and Meghan are professional, useless people is because they don't admit what their true goal is ever. They always try to mask it in charity and philanthropy or in Hollywood or whatever they're trying to do. They always try to mask it as something deeper than it is. When Harry and Meghan should just be clear. This couple wants money. Give us money. Money, money, money. That is what they're after. And because I feel like they're not clear about their true goals, it's hard to suss out what they really want because I think Meghan and Harry could be much more successful, not only if they drop the royal titles, because they'd have to do that before doing this, drop all this fake charity nonsense, which they don't really care about, and just admit all they want is money. All we're trying to do is make money. There's nothing deeper here. We're just after the money, and we also want media censorship. Those are their real two goals. Like, why not just admit that? Because when you look at the Kardashians, you can say a lot of things about the Kardashians, and I think they're hardworking businesswomen for the most part, because you can't not be with the empire they've built. But the thing is, they're not trying to tell you they're trying to save the world. They just want you to buy the lip gloss. They just want you to buy the latest fashion collaboration. They just want you to buy their handbag secondhand from their website. They're also telling you to watch their TV show. They're not trying to tell you they're doing anything more, that they're trying to save the world, trying to change a bunch of things. I mean, Kim Kardashian did have her whole prison thing and everything. And so they do charity work. It's not like they don't. But their broad business ventures are, we want to make as much money as humanly possible. And they've been very successful at that. They've been enormously successful at that. But Harry and Meghan are just going, well, we're doing charity and then we kind of want to make money on the side. It's like, no, that's not how it works. You can do charity once you've made enough money to actually do charity. You fake doing charity, trying to raise money off doing fake charity. It's just silly. It's just a silly, pointless endeavor. But it's that attempt to try to make themselves look deeper and more engaged than they actually are. Because Meghan Markle shows who she really is in that selfie. She wants to be seen at the Beverly Hills Hotel, sucking it up with the big wigs of Hollywood, getting her Mai Tai or whatever, and enjoying the night out on the town without her husband and her kids. Because apparently she was alone. And so if Meghan could just be that straight with people, I think she would be a lot more successful. But it's that fakeness of trying to be somebody you're not, trying to do things really you're not going to do and not going to have really an impact in, that really is a pointless endeavor. Just to admit the true pillars of Archewell are give us money and censor everything that we don't like on media and social media. That is what Harry and Meghan are truly all about. So guys, let me know what you think about this video, because I can tell you right now, Miss Pippa, she wants to know. This is my co-host, Saturday morning co-host, Miss Pippa. She has just gone to the groomer, so she's looking very festive in her Halloween bandana. So she says hello to everyone. She's missed everyone on the live streams, and she's super excited that, of course, I'm back after traveling so much. And so guys, I want to know what you think about this video. Thank you so much for watching. I got somebody who's very much wants some attention. So guys, thank you so much for watching again. Look forward to seeing you again soon. Bye.